Who wants to do some funnel pricing maths? Welcome, hello, I'm Mike, obviously from sayyourservice.co.uk, and today what I want to talk to you about is pricing your marketing funnels effectively. There is a big problem. Basically, there's two pricing models available to funnel building and funnel builder businesses. I want to go through some of the pros and cons of pricing high and pricing low, because there are actually advantages to both. And what's interesting is that while pricing very, very high allows you to have a lower volume and work with fewer clients, pricing very, very low allows you to work with more people, but also slightly change your product offering. And I believe that there is a massive advantage to pricing low that I don't really talk about. Sometimes our market literally won't allow us to price any higher. Perhaps if we go after the kind of info product market, or if we go after like brand new businesses or arts and crafts, you know, that there's a huge market there. They just physically don't have a lot to spend on one particular funnel. It's impossible to raise our prices. And this is what a lot of people say when they talk about the market determines the price. Now, I don't believe that the world determines the price for all marketing funnels, but I do believe if I was to go after entertainers, for example, actors maybe, if they had wanted some kind of funnel, which, you know, I'm sure I could create for them, or like I said, the arts and crafts market, there would probably be a limit or a cap. Now, I could still decide to go after very, very profitable businesses within that market, but it might be that my particular skill set lends itself to one very particular part of the niche, and I know that they won't have anything more to spend than $2,500. On the other hand, on the other side, our revenue goals might determine that we absolutely have to price high. I might say that I need to generate $100,000 a year. If you watch one of my previous videos, I'll kind of go through that, or maybe $200,000 or $1 million or whatever it is. But I know that I physically only have the time to work with 4 clients a year, or I want to work with 4 clients a year. Obviously, my budget's going to be a lot higher, but the volume that I sell will probably be lower, and the volume that I deliver will probably be lower. So I want to talk through these two options. I think there's a big misconception that everyone thinks that I believe that everyone should charge $10,000 or $25,000 per funnel, and that's not exactly true. What I believe is that every project should be profitable. So every single product should be profitable to the business. Now, the problem is that there are two types of profitability. There is product profitability and business profitability. So that's kind of like saying, well, yeah, if I buy something for $50 and sell it for $100, obviously there's a profit margin there, but that's not enough to sustain my business. So while the product is profitable, that doesn't necessarily mean that the business is profitable. If I only sell once, then $50 isn't going to survive me. It's certainly nowhere near my $100,000 goal. So we're going to look at two products here. We're going to look at a $500 product, and we're going to look at a $2,500 product. Now, this one here could even be split over 5 months, or even like $100 a month for 12 months for $1,200, like a $1,200 product. So this is a very low ticket item. Okay, this is a very low ticket, low price, but this is also a higher budget one. So this is $25,000. Now, personally, some of our projects are actually higher than this, but for this initial jump, I wanted to show you the difference between working with these two projects. So let's have a look at the $500 product. First of all, we've got this chart here, right? So we've got time along the bottom. This is the amount of time that goes past. So we're here, we're going to start over here. And this is maybe in 12 months time or 24 months time or 3 years time. And this is our revenue. Products like this, the low ticket items, you have to have a turnkey solution. It's really, really difficult to do a custom and bespoke model with a lower ticket offering because you're kind of customizing for every single customer, and that kind of eats into your profitability. Now, when we look at products that are profitable for our customers, but they're not necessarily funnels, we can start looking at it another way. You could build a turnkey solution. You could use something like Beaver Funnels or Beaver Builder, install it on a multi-site and say to someone, hey, you get 5 pages. You get a squeeze page, a thank you page, a sales page, a checkout page, and a delivery page. Maybe you just get 5 pages, and it's $100 a month, and you upload, you just send us the copy, we'll upload it, select from a bunch of different templates. I know people who have done this, but the mistake happens when people think, oh, that's where I should be going, the lower end of the market, that's where I should be going. And they think that that's where all the money is because there's a lower ticket cost. They'll have more customers to deal with at the start. And that's a big misconception. That's wrong. That's not true. you will have to put in the same amount of effort to find a $100 client as you would a $10,000 client or a $100,000 client. It sounds really counterintuitive, but that's the truth, is the effort you put in to find those customers is very, very difficult. It can't be custom, and it does require a high turnover as well to become profitable. Just like we said, when you start here and you get those initial first couple of customers, okay, and they're coming along like this, that there underneath is not enough profit to sustain your entire business, okay? It's not enough profit for your business to be sustainable or for your business to be profitable. So what we find is that over time it goes up, and there might be a what we call a compound effect or a doubling effect, where in your first month you only have 2 customers, and your next month you have 4 customers, and your next month you have 8 customers, and it goes up like that, and then you have 16 customers. Now, over time, now I have no idea how long this would be, but this is typically what we can see, and it might be that the amount of revenue coming into your business, you physically have to get past this line here. This is your break even, okay? So this is break even per whatever it is, per time scale. You know that you have to get to 17 customers for your business to break even. If that's true, and you know, maybe it's $100 a month and you only want to make $1,700 a month, awesome. But it's going to take you this amount of time to get to profitability, which is fine. Like, you know, the sell your service model runs on a membership based business, and obviously we don't offer funnels, we offer training and coaching and all this kind of stuff. But if you're wanting to get to that point, you have to remember that you're still going to have to spend the time looking for these customers. This is the other big kicker with the lower pricing, lower volume, is it's very hard for the business to become profitable immediately. It's very, very hard for the business to become profitable immediately. Very few low ticket offers launch and are immediately profitable. Yeah, everyone talks about these huge launches that businesses do and the marketing gurus and internet marketing gurus do. They have an enormous list to start with, and chances are an enormous amount of their revenue is going to come from the affiliate sales side anyway. If you're starting from scratch, or if you've got a very low subscriber list, working your way up to this kind of sustainable model, there's nothing wrong with it at all. Each product still has to be profitable, but the problem is that every product has to be profitable for that same amount of time. If your margin on one product is only, you know, let's say $50 and you're charging $100 per person, actually let's change this then. So let's change this to $100 per month, right? And your margin is only $50, one customer is obviously not going to be profitable for your business. It'll be profitable for the actual product, but it won't be profitable for the business. After 2 products, then the profit level, you know, becomes slightly better. And after 4 customers and 8 customers and so on, if it's always going to be 50, that line is going to be going halfway up. What a lot of people do is they think, okay, well, I'll sell the first 10 for a lower price to get the customers in. If the first 10 products aren't profitable, the next 10 won't be. You have to start with a price that's immediately profitable for you, but it will still take time to get up to that point, because the profit to your business, although per product it is profitable, for the actual overall profit of the business, it might be that it takes a little bit longer for you to reach a sustained level there. This is a really common problem that we find with a lot of businesses that don't have a process. Let's say that for one product, for one $100 product per month, it costs you $70 to build it. Now, if you're doing this as a custom level, every single time you've got a new customer, you're only making 30, let's do it as a minus sign there for the cost, and you're only making $30 per customer. Obviously, it's going to take longer, despite the number of customers you've got, to get to this kind of profitability, or this particular case, this break-even model. That said, there's nothing wrong with this model. If you can create a turnkey system, there's nothing wrong with creating a system like that within your business. You can also instead start to think, well, instead of building funnels, why don't I teach my market how to do something? Why don't I build a course? Why don't I coach them on doing something? I really like that model because I think it's easier to kind of get to those revenue levels faster, and I believe it's more sustainable. So some of the other kind of pros and cons that we've got here is Over time, this model does become very, very sustainable. It's because it's a lower pricing offer, it's also a lower barrier to entry, but don't let that think that you're going to be rammed with customers. I know a lot of people who have tried to enter the market in this way, and they've been really surprised that they haven't kind of made money like instantaneously. You still have to spend an enormous amount of time and effort growing that membership base. There's often a longer time before you become sustainable or sustainable profits, but in the long term, I do believe this is a very, very viable option. However, you have to sell a lot of them in comparison to our $25,000 product. So it might be that the time goes along, and as we're going along with time, we don't make any sales. And it might be that it's up until kind of 10 months into the first year that we have our first sale. So the first sale kind of jumps up like this, and maybe it's just below this break-even point, but that's our initial deposit, for example. And then as we're working along, and then we get the next level, it jumps up again. But then there's a big drop-off when there's no more revenue. Maybe this is the deposit, and then we have, you know, the launch or whatever, depending on your pricing model. Anything over this is profit. That's fantastic. Anything over this break-even line, but all in all, it might work out that doing one project is actually the equivalent of working with, what's that, 250 customers or something per year. So you have to work with far fewer customers, but the jump between when you are profitable and when you're not profitable, that could take longer. However, this model here, I believe, is actually easier to start with. The one big caveat with pricing at very, very high levels is that it's harder, if you're only working with one product at a time, it's harder for you to begin to build your recurring revenue from your larger ticket items because you're only talking to one customer at a time. Let's then say that after you've had this customer, you put them on one of these $100 plans, or maybe you've got a care plan and it's a $500 plan, and that's adding to your bottom level every single time at $500 per month. It might be another 4 or 5 months before you can add another person to that $500 per month plan. This is another big problem, is that people forget you can only sell recurring revenue products to customers that you're talking to. Now, that's not to say you couldn't have two different products. You could do. You could absolutely have a product that is easy for you to work with and is easy for you to sell kind of on a recurring maintenance basis. But splitting your focus like that becomes very, very difficult. I believe that working with these large-scale, larger budget products is easier to grow and initially move to a sustainable point within your business. If you know that $25,000 gives you, what's that? If we're using the Mike Michalowicz method, that's what? Something like $1,300 profit. And you know that you also have like another $7,000 on there for your margin to work with other businesses. So you have like a $7,500 budget to hire other people. That obviously makes it more profitable as well because you're not delivering the work. But to then talk to that customer and move them onto a $500 a month plan, longer term, that is far, far, far more sustainable. But the big problem we encounter is it takes a longer time to find that initial customer in the first place. Some of the other things to bear in mind is, like I said, you don't just have to offer funnel projects to customers. You could offer them coaching, you could offer them ebooks, courses, workshops. If you have a turnkey system, that's fantastic. But bearing in mind, the turnkey system, the one big flaw with the turnkey system, and people forget this, is the revenue and the investment that it takes to start with. Let's say you're charging $100 a month for a marketing funnel project. It might be 3 months into the first year before you make your first sale, and it might be another 3 months before you make your second sale, and it might be another 3 months and so on before your third sale. So there's a lot of big time here where you're building that turnkey system before it's able to fully be implemented, because if you've got a process like that that allows you to start delivering things without having to work on them so hard, people are going to expect that to be more automated. Yes, you could work behind the scenes and kind of beaver away and do that yourself and just copy and paste everything, and maybe you've got a process for that. Maybe you just write out a bullet point list of processes for your VA and you say, every time we sell one of these products, this here should take you 2 hours to do. That 2 hours is going to cost me, I don't know, $30. And I know for the first $100 per month, that gives me $70 left. And in fact, all of this process here is, you know, sending them the content worksheet, sending them the hosting details, sending them all this kind of stuff, uploading that, changing it. The VA executes that process. It doesn't have to be software based. It's really important. It doesn't have to be software based. They execute all of that. And you know that the next month, that $100 that comes in, there's a higher profit margin on that because you don't have to get the VA to work on the system there. Thanks very much, guys. I am Mike from sellyourservice.co.uk, and that was how to work out whether you want to do low pricing, high volume versus high pricing and low volume. I'll speak to you later. Thanks very much. Keep building those funnels.